Twin Diaries. So today is kind of a heavy subject for some people, but I think it definitely should be talked about. And so we're going to be talking about dealing with death in nursing.
Yep.
I have been having, because I work at an assisted living facility, having a lot of patients pass away or die, because we know we shouldn't say pass away. But I've had a lot of patients die, and so it's definitely a struggle having to deal with it. I also did home health, and I actually stopped doing home health because a patient that I was very close to passed away. So, and in my experience, obviously the hospital, people come there because they're sick, and so I've had a lot of deaths. I think it was 4 this past year, or in the 10 months that I've been working there, it's been 4. And every time like it hits you, definitely the first one is like the worst one, because it's your first one, and you don't. Before then, I never dealt with death well. I only had one death that really truly affected me, and it was somebody close to me. It was my grandmother. So just me dealing with death is like, so to start, like my sister said, the first death that we dealt with was my grandmother, and that death actually happened my first semester in nursing school, and I found out right when I got home from clinicals. Like, I literally stripped, got in the shower, like threw my scrubs, like I was ready to get in bed. I was exhausted, and before I can even, my head could even hit the pillow, my mom like burst in the room saying that my grandmother was in a coma and was in the ICU all the way in New Orleans. And so we had to drive down there. Yeah, my sister wasn't even home. We had to wait for her to get home. We immediately started packing, and like in that moment you don't even know how to feel. Like, I didn't even know how to feel. I was like, is this even real life? And I feel like that even happens when you experience a death in the hospital, in a assisted living facility, especially regardless if it's a person that you've established a relationship with.
Yeah. And a lot of times with the patients, like even on my floor, we'll have patients on there for days, you know, like they don't just, some of them do as soon as they come, hours later, then they leave. So it's like, what's the point of admitting them in inpatient? But you have time to get to know them and their family and everything. So when they pass or they die, it makes it that much harder.
Yeah.
So
I think the important thing to remember is that there's no way to truly prepare. Like, even when I work with a bunch of hospice patients, it doesn't matter if we know that it's coming. It still catches you off guard every time. It's still death. It's still a life lost and lives left behind. So it doesn't necessarily get easier, but you typically learn how to cope with it. The first time that it happens, you don't know how you're going to deal with it. You might be one of those people who kind of like blows it off. You don't even cry. So you might bawl and then you're okay. Like, you just don't know.
I know the first time that happened for me, I actually went in for a half shift. I'm thinking like, and when I do those, I'm just immediately thinking like, I'm going to be here 6 hours. Like, 6 hours is nothing compared to doing 12 hours. So I was like, I got this. This must be easy. And literally everything went to hell. Before I got there, this patient was already declining. There was already issues with that patient that morning. And so when I got there in the afternoon and I was doing 12 to 6 or 12 to 6:30, 7, it just
She FaceTimed me and was like,
I was bawling in the bathroom, like,
and I immediately freaked out because I'm thinking something else happened. Not that that's not serious, but just, you know, like if somebody calls you bawling, like you immediately,
I did not want to come out the bathroom.
Yeah.
The nurse I was working with that also had the patient was crying. It was just a really rough day, really rough half a day even for me, and they'd been there all day. And you know, like, and then when you deal with stuff like that, there's also a lot of paperwork that comes afterwards, but you're like already trying to deal with the fact that you just had a patient die, but then there's like other things that nurses have to deal with. And it was just
and nothing's wrong if you need to step out, or there's nothing wrong where if you need to call someone else to continue the care just so you can like get yourself together and have a moment. Like, that's normal. That will happen.
I didn't want to come back to work, honestly. I wanted to be honest and tell you, like, you might feel that way when that happens to you, where it's just like it's a struggle coming. Like, I had to come back the next day. I literally wanted to call in, and I had picked up a shift that next day as well. So I was just like, why did I do that? Why did I come in for this girl that day? Because then it wouldn't have happened to me. It's like you don't want to be in the environment. It'll just keep reminding you of it, but it gets easier, honestly. It's like things happen and life still goes on, you know? So you learn how to compartmentalize it.
Plus, it just, to me, when I meet someone and they pass away, I just feel like they came into my life for a reason. And I don't want that. Even if I don't know the reason, I know it's for a reason. And some part of me has changed. Like, I meet elderly. Every patient that I've had is elderly. When I tell you, obviously old people have like a ton of wisdom, and I love them, and they're the sweetest people and so cute. So they've affected me in some way, whether they're always asking me about school or asking me like how my family is, and they just love to ask, you know, about your love life, and you talk to them about it, and they just give the greatest advice. But they're truly sweet people who like really touch your heart. So I think it's just important to remember that deaths are going to happen in nursing or in whatever medical position that you're in. And you are going to meet great people, and it's going to hurt that much more when they're gone. But try to think about the fact that you did meet them and that you feel changed from meeting them, and that they brought some bit of light to your life. Try to find a positive way to think about it so it doesn't just like tear you apart.
Don't ever blame yourself as well. Like, sometimes it's just people's time. For the first person that I was just telling you about, right before I had got there, the family had just left, and the family, kid you not, just changed her to a DNR. Like, what are the odds? And then that same day, after they left, and then when I get there is when it happens. Another one that I had, I remember that was tough for me as well, because I had been there 3 days in a row. Second day, third day. And I had left the second shift, so the day before, and I told him, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm probably going to have you again, because usually when you come back for multiple shifts, they try to give you the same patients. So I told him I'd be back. We were laughing, kikiing all day. He loved to eat, so I always bring him snacks and stuff like that, but he was just super sweet and funny. Then I come back the next day in the morning, I'm getting a report and just sick. Like, not the same person, barely able to speak to me, can't like even get to can't even pick up the emesis bag to his mouth without throwing up everywhere. Like, he was just really, really sick. Literally 10 a.m. Got there at 6, 10:30 he was gone. And the whole room was a mess. Like, the whole room, probably half the hospital, it seemed like, was in that one room or standing outside of the room. It was just crazy. And it's mind-boggling, because it's like that person was just there. And then people who like dealt with death, where you're just like, I just saw you yesterday, or I just saw you not that long ago, and
it's hard for us to wrap our minds around it.
How somebody could be here and the next minute they're not, you know?
Or how they can be in this like great condition, and the next minute all of a sudden they're just gone. And was in like a terrible condition, and you wonder how they go from point A to point B like that.
I'm Christian. I don't know what religion or whatever anyone else believes in, but I do believe everything happens for a reason. I feel like God does have a plan for all of us.
Everybody,
our story is already written.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's your time, it's your time. And we may not understand it, and it's not always meant for us to understand.
Exactly.
So sometimes you just have to remind yourself that it's not for me to understand.
Right.
It's not my place to ask all these questions and expect the answers. Yeah, just know it happens to all of us. Everyone has to deal with it. We all have a beginning and we all have an end. And try to think. Sometimes you don't think there's anything positive in a situation, but just know that everything does happen for a reason. And there's always, to me, I feel like there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I'm a positive, negative person. I love Jay Versace, if you don't know who that is. But yeah, I really think I'm a positive, negative person. But when it comes to stuff like that, I know God has a plan for all of us. Everybody has a story.
Right. And just find your way to decompress and to cope a little bit better.
Journal.
I love journaling. I love devotionals.
Love devotionals. We collect
Those,
them.
yes.
Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. Let's talk about something that's like hard to talk about. A lot of us like don't want to talk about that part of nursing, but it is there.
But I hope you guys could relate, and I hope that this video helped you out in some sort of way.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in to the Twin Diaries. I'm Sana.
I'm Shauna.
Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and thrive.